Welcome everyone. This is going to be rather a bit longer video than usual since our most video is specific targeted to one single task or one single area. This one is more like an introductory for navigation, explaining you how to navigate within the main dashboard and the side menu that we have here on the left in LedgerNueva. So maybe pause, grab a coffee, and let's begin. Currently here, as you can see, it's everything at zero, it's empty. Since it's our first company we have just created when we went through the onboarding. Here on this corner on the top is where we can pick our companies. Currently we only have one. It's also where you can add a new company. You can restore from backup or start the blank. You give some basic information and you just simply like that create a new company. Now, depending on your subscription plan, you may allow to have one company, 3, 7, but you can also, of course, just add as many companies as you like. Other thing you can do from this part is go to your profile. And in this section, I will not be covering in this video, but in general, here you can just manage things about your account, your organization, which means whatever you do here doesn't really relate to each of your companies. For the companies, you'll be here in the main dashboard, and you have to go here on the settings part. And within these settings, you can actually affect everything that relates to each company that you are currently in. Okay, I'm gonna go in a fast forward, let's say, way, showing the different tabs we have within the settings. Just bear in mind, in some cases, you may not see all of them, depending if your company is a US, a European, if you are the owner of the company or just a team member. Here in that part is where you can change the name of the company, add your tax ID or TIC, location, country, state, and general information about the tax profile. This is not a must, but you could give some extra details in terms of what your business is doing, services, goods, digital, that can help the system better determine your tax profile when it comes to calculation and detecting maybe sales tax, VAT, or even corporation tax. In the second tab, we have the invoicing. Here you can, in a way, customize the invoice that you can generate from Ledger. As you know, you can use the LedgerNueva to actually issue your invoices if you like. And here, for example, if you press preview, you wait a second, and here it's how your invoice will look like. At the moment, we haven't set any logo, or you can add a signature, you can add your bank details, so your customers, when they receive your email, they can see where they shall make their payments. So here is where you put this information, maybe some additional instructions, some message in the invoice. For example, now we have the thank you for your business, and you can see it down here. Now, that's pretty much it. Some further customization. There's not so many things to be said. In that area is pretty much self-explanatory when you navigate. The next two tabs has to do about the VAT or sales tax depending of your location. In this specific company, it's in Utah, it's in US, so here we don't see something. We could create a VAT period. VAT is something that, let's see, think about it as the sales tax for EU. And from this part is the sales tax for the USA. We have all the US states with their corresponding rates. And as you can see here, we're already Nexus. If we click here to see only the Nexus, we are already active in Utah. Since we are located in Utah in this specific company, we are Nexus by default. The rest ones can be automatically or manually set as Nexus on, depending, because in some cases you may want to register voluntarily. In some other cases, you just monitor your sales, which is something the system does for you. And when you pass, a threshold that corresponding to each state, then the Nexus will go on automatically and you're going to start calculating and collecting taxes. So you know what you need to go and submit and pay to each state. I'm just going to jump here from this tab to the Knowledge Hub down here, just to show you. For example, in Knowledge tab, you can see what is the threshold for each state. For example, Alabama, if you pass 250,000 within a calendar year, within 12 months, let's say, you're going to automatically activate the Nexus and you need to register in the state and pay the sales tax. Here you can follow the link. There's some additional information, some guidance of how you can actually register and the procedures you need to know in case you hit that threshold. Let's go back to the next tab here, reminders. Here you can basically set custom reminders, corporation, VAT, whatever you need to add as a reminder, set how many days before the deadline, for example, you want to receive the reminder, you want to have it in your email, you want to have a message in your Telegram, which is something that you first need to connect, of course, which is something that you can do from here, integrations. And as you can see, you can connect your Google Drive, your Telegram, or Stripe. Stripe is actually a future add-on. It's not ready yet, but the first two, Google Drive and Telegram, is something you can connect, integrate, and use. For Google Drive, you have full explanation of how to do that. Also, a dedicated video will be soon ready and published for that to help you in case you need some extra guidance. I will not explain in this video what and why you may need to or want to integrate with Drive. Of course, it's not a must, because by default you have a cloud of LedgerNueva, and basically what that does is when you create an invoice or maybe you want to upload documents, invoices, expenses, or sales, so then you can use the AI system to parse those documents and create automatically the accounting for you. So that's where you integrate everything. Then we go back to here, periods. So here is something you need to do. It's actually the first thing you have to do after you create a new company. You need to come here, settings, periods, and create your periods, the accounting periods where you're going to be starting posting expenses, sales, or whatever it is you're going to post in your accounting records. Now I have already these two open, but let's say you want to do it. You just type here the year, and from the date picker, you just put the starting date, the end date of the period, and then you simply press create. I will not now do that because I already have my period, but that's how you do it. You just put the name, pick the dates, start and end, and then create. Then we have the team. Here you manage your teams. You can send invites to their emails so they can go accept the invite and become members of your team. Maybe you have some accountant and you want him to actually do the accounting for you. Maybe you can invite your external accountant, which is it's a different kind of invite. It has an expiration date of 7 days, and then you will have to invite him again. But of course, you could just send him a different role, which is an access that gives, for example, admin has full access. They can also manage teams. It means they can also invite other members. And these roles don't have expiration dates. Then we have upload docs. From here, you can upload your documents. You simply pick a year, Currently, we only have 26. I know you saw 25 here, but when we opened the company, we said that didn't exist in 25. So just, I shouldn't have opened that, but I guess I did some other video in the past that I wanted to show something. In any way, when you have more years, you could actually choose the year, the type, it's a sale, it's expense, or some other document, and then you simply upload your document. Data migration, here is where you can import the trial balance. For example, maybe you have been keeping your accounting in Excel or maybe some other software, and now you want to move in LedgerNueva. Here is one way. You can also do it from charts of accounts. Here, import trial balance. Let's go back. And basically, you can import your balances as they are, and then you start performing, keeping your records within, LedgerNueva. Then we have activity log. This is something that you're really not going to be using. It's mostly maybe for an error, or the owner, maybe he wants to see who did and what and when. Knowledge Hub already briefly explained. And finally, billing and invoices. Here you're just going to be having the invoices of LedgerNueva that you're going to be receiving, but you're also going to have them in your email, but it's another location that you can come and find your invoices. And that's pretty much it with the settings. Let's now see the actual software and how we get to use it. Let's see, here we have the product and services. Basically here what you have is you can add a product or a service. You can keep your inventory records. There are multiple ways that you can do that. You can add them manually, but also it can happen automatically. For example, when you post an invoice, maybe you bought, so it's an expense invoice and you bought some inventory, the system can detect what you bought. Of course, that going to need to have some configurations when you actually posting the expense, and your inventory will update with the quantity, the description, amount, everything. But for now, let's just see how we can add one, let's say, service. I'm going to say accounting services, give it a type. It could be product, but in this case, it's service. Let's say it's 2.5. You can give a description. I will keep it empty, even though one of the main reasons that you may want to have services here is just exactly because we don't want to type in description each and every time. You could from here choose a default income account, meaning that every single time you choose that particular service, you will want maybe the service revenue to be the account that will be used to credit the income, maybe sales revenue, maybe commissions income, depending on what you want. For now, I will press in the wrong place, so let's do it very fast again. Connect services, and let me just make that capital, and I will just create that cuff here. I forgot now to add a value update. So now we have this service in the catalog. And let's see how we can use that in just a moment, but let's see now the customer section. Here is where you're going to have a list of all your customers. Currently it's empty. Let's see how we can add a customer. You simply press here in the corner, this green button, add a customer. You give it a name. Let's call him Utah local customer. You can add email, phone, keep empty. Just, it's important when we add customers to select their location so the system can know if we are selling to a state that we are Nexus, so it can calculate the taxes, the sales tax, or if it's a state that we are not Nexus yet, to be able to monitor the level of sales, so it will automatically detect if we should have activate the Nexus status. So for now, I will just keep United States, tag and the name. Again, you could have choose a default account for this customer, but I will just keep it as is. And let's see how can we, yes, let me also show you. You see here now we have our first customer in the list. You could also see reports. Let's say you want to do a preview of a statement. Currently it's empty. We have no invoice to this customer yet. You could download a PDF or in Excel. Then you go to sales invoices and let's see how we can create our first invoice. Now, there are multiple ways you can post, create, or create an invoice. One way is from the scan from your Google Drive or the LedgerNueva Drive. Now, because we have not integrated the Google Drive, we only see one button here, this one. If you had the Google Drive connected, you would see a second button here. And basically when you click, you choose the year. Currently we only have one, scan, and it's empty currently. But if we had documents here, documents that have not yet been posted, then the system will have find them and we could have parsed them, and the accounting in a way will be automatically done for us. Other ways is import from a PDF, similar procedure, but instead of scanning the drive, maybe you want to now drag and drop or just browse in your desktop and add an invoice so you can post the accounting records. But let's see this one, create new invoice, how this works. You could now use this drop down to choose from the list of customers. We have only one for the moment. You could always add a new customer from here, but now I will use the one we open. And here is this income. Since we have not selected the default income either for the customer or for the service, we're gonna have to pick one from here. So under income, I will pick service revenue. We choose the date of our invoice. Let's say our first sale was 7th of January, and due date I keep as is. Since the customer is in Utah, we are in Utah, the system detects that we have to charge 6.1 sales tax. Here we just confirm the location. And here is where we add the items of our invoice and descriptions. So it's a service, you can type whatever you want here, or you can select if you have any service in your catalog. So this is the service we have created before. It automatically takes the amount. You can of course change everything or increase the quantity, and everything updates automatically. The tax is calculated, and you just press here. I want to tell you that if here it goes empty, you wouldn't be able to press that button, so the system will not let you do the mistake in a way. So let's see what happens. I press create the invoice, and here we have our first invoice. Customer, date, due date, the net amount, sales tax, and the total. Now, if you go to the documents, you're going to see that you already have now a document. It's your PDF. And now let's go back to sales invoices. If you click here, you're going to see the actual PDF. You can download it, send it to the customer, and here how it looks currently, the name of our company, the name of our customer, description, quantity, the rate, the total amount, VAT, sales tax, and the total. Date currently is shown as unpaid. This can change if you mark it as paid. I will show you in a bit how this will affect everything. But let me show you what else had happened now that we have posted our first invoice. If we go back to the customer now, and we check here, the balance has been updated. It shows that we have this balance with this customer. I can see now his statement. Before it was 0. Now we can see that we have invoice issued and the amount that we need to collect from this customer. What else happens? Let's see the journal entries. So here is the very first journal entry in our accounting for this company. If you press on it, it collapses and show you exactly what has happened. It debit the account receivable, which links to the customer as we saw in the statement. Service revenue credited, this is our income, and finally this is our liability, our obligation to the sales tax in tax state. And if you go to reports, you see that you have already the trial balance start having values showing exactly what has happened. You have a receivable from your customer, you have a Utah state for the sales tax, and your income here. Some other statements is balance sheet, profit and loss, general ledger, account statement where you can just pick one specific account just to see the movement. Financial statements, now even if we preview them, will be almost empty. They're just one thing, but just for the sake, when you press them, you're gonna have some sort of financial statement showing the situation, the profit and loss, the balance sheet, your equity, and some notes explaining that this is your service revenue, your account receivable, and your liabilities. So it's just something for you to have as a, let's call it as mini reporting. And finally, here we have the tax, under which we have two different tabs. If you had a VAT transaction, a third tab would have appeared here. But for now, what we see is that we have the sales tax by state, only one state at the moment. We see the sales, how many transactions, estimated tax, and posted tax. If it wasn't posted, you will see here the variance. So you will notify you by the system, you will be notified. And here is where you actually create your sales tax returns. Let's say the quarter finishes, you want to see what you have to pay and where. You're going to choose the state. Now only one exists since we only have one sale in Utah. You generate the periods. We already generate them. So when you recalculate now, you see, excuse me about that, you see that the first quarter, you have that amount. Press here, analysis, you just see in details how this comes from. From now, it's just from this transaction. And about the sales tax, again, some specifics so you know why you have this sales tax. Now, let's move on with the expenses. In the same fashion, with the income, you can post expense. Again, you can just scan in case you have some documents. Now we didn't upload any documents yet. You can import from Excel. There are many ways you can post your expenses. We don't now have an expense to post, but let's say if you are about to post one manual entry, you have to choose what expense. Let's say you have your electricity bill, supplier is empty. Here it works the same way with your customers. We haven't created any new supplier yet. Let's create one from here. Let's say is the electricity authority, email, phone, I will. Now for the suppliers, it's not as important to add the country because it's an expense and we don't care for sales tracking. So if you want to add just for your own purposes to know which supplier and which state, then go ahead. For these purposes, I will leave it empty. Add a supplier. Now electricity is expense. Electricity authority is my supplier. Let's say the invoice was the number one. And let's say that the date of this was 31st of January, US dollars. Description, electricity, January 2026, let's say. I'd say it was like 250. And depending of if they have tax or not, case we keep it at 0. Here we can also post at once the payment if it's already paid, or leave it as unpaid. I will leave it unpaid for this example, which means the system explains to you what happens if you is changing depending on what you press. The note down changes. Unpaid, it means it will credit the accounts payable. If you want, you can change the creditors or the accruals. If you said paid now, record the new payment, creates both the invoice and the payment journal. So at once it will create the expense, but also it will make the payment. And here you have to choose how that payment was made. Bank, cash, the shareholder maybe, or something else. If it's bank, you're gonna have to choose your bank account, which is something we have not yet created. So I will leave it unpaid. And one last final thing, already settled. It means maybe I have already import my bank statement. I have already recorded the payment, but the invoice was missing. And now I'm just posting the expense invoice. So this is where I will have clicked. But let's keep unpaid for now. Add expense. And let's see what happens. Electricity authority. We have the invoice. If I had used the import method or the Google scan, that number would have been a link. And the same way with our sales invoice, I would be able to click on it and see the actual invoice, which is also a pretty nice way to have our documents sorted and nice, and we can find them anytime we need to find an expense. In the journal entries now, if we go, we can see that the expense has also now recorded. It's kind of the opposite of before. Now we debit the expense and we credit the liability account payable. And if I go to my suppliers here, what I can see is I have the supplier with its balance, and similarly, you can just preview the statement and I can see that I have this obligation that needs to be paid. So, great. Now, in the bank, I will not add now a bank, but here's how you add a bank. You put the name, IBAN, account number, currency, if you had an opening balance, and here you just choose, but it's better to leave it in auto create new. It's how it's going to link this bank account with your actual accounting records. You can import a bank statement, but now because we don't have a bank created, we have to create a new bank first. I will show in a dedicated video how to do that. Let's move on. Here is the documents we saw already. And let's go see something rather boring if you are not an accountant. But even if you are an accountant, here is your charts of accounts. For a moment, there are a total of 137 accounts in this specific company. But you can add accounts. For example, you have some basic assets, accumulate depreciation accounts, cash, bank, stock inventory, liabilities. You have, for example, when you hit the nexus in a different state, you're going to see that as you have the sales tax UTR, a new account automatically we created here, let's say going to be the 4102, 4103, and it will link this state to this specific account. But you can also create your own accounts. Some of them are locked because they are working with the tax system. So we don't want the user accidentally make a mistake and have the tax calculation have, some mistakes. So if you see a lock, most probably there is a good reason you cannot change the specific account, but you can also always add a new account for yourself. Now, when you do that, it's important that you specify, let's say you add account and you want to add, let's say, let's say audit services. It's important to choose the correct category, because if you choose wrong, then you're going to have some mistakes in your accounts, which, is not the end of the day. Your auditor will detect them and will adjust accordingly. But it's important to know that if this account, it relates to your expense, then you have to choose expense. If it's income, account code will be given automatically, and then subcategory, this expense is administration expense, and you can optional, of course, to give a description and add account. I will not add that one, as I think that maybe this expense already exists. It doesn't matter, you get the point. So here is all the accounts that they come when you first open a fresh company, but you can add as many as you want. Journal entries we saw, reports we saw, and here is just some ratios. Okay, currently we just have one expense and one invoice, but you could just have some ratios. You also have some explanations of what this ratio is about. And if we go back to the dashboard now, all time, revenue 2.5, expenses. So you see it starts having some numbers here, some visuals. And that's pretty much it for that first introductory video to help you navigate. Here you can pick the period alone, but it's not so different between the old time, because old time or 2026 is kind of the same. The only difference is in graph, because it only show you up to a certain, like 12 months maybe period. So in old time, maybe it doesn't cover the whole period. In any way, that's pretty much it. And yes, I will be doing dedicated videos for all the specific methods of how to import, how to locate. Of course, if any specific thing you want to learn, just let me know, and I will be making sure to create as many helpful videos as I can. One more thing, I think I didn't show you that. Mr. Here, this is our AI assistant. You can always come here, ask him whatever you want. It can be a question about your company, like here, do we have unpaid invoices? Show me summary. Or you can just ask how to post an invoice. Where do I go to do whatever? And it will give you some assistance, but of course you can always reach to us. And one more thing here I want to show you. If you go to settings, that Mr. can become your tutor. So in the first tab, business AI tutor. If I press that button, here now I have a second tab, and you can have an AI accounting professor in a way, explaining anything you want to understand. Maybe it's general accounting question, maybe it's specific for your company. For example, you can have here, and you see the other thing that changed, other than just having this extra tab. Now this small hat has appeared to our transactions. Now what that is, you can click on it and you're asking him to explain the specific journal entry. Now your tutor will try to analyze that transaction and tell you why you have debited or credited something. And you see here, it gives you some explanation in a way that you maybe, for example, didn't understand something, or maybe you are an accountant and like a student in accounting and you're using the software, so you can also understand how is it to actually use a software, posting actual accounting work, not just the theory you learn in the university. And one final thing, it has a different levels. You can have a beginner, intermediate, or accountant. Now, if you are an experienced accountant like me, I always have it off. And you see now the small hat disappeared, and our tutor tab has also left. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope it helps you to at least get started, and I will be seeing you in the next one.